Good morning. This is Carter Conlon, and welcome to my morning. Now, today's devotional is going to be a little more sober, or a little more somber than the usual ones, because I've been reading a book, I just finished it actually yesterday, called The Gales of November, The Untold Story of the Edmund Fitzgerald. This is a shipping ship that would load tons and tons of ore and ship it through the Great Lakes. And in 1975, the Edmund Fitzgerald got caught in a huge gale, terrific storm, and sank in the storm. Now, I don't want to focus on the sinking of the ship, but what I'd like to focus on is the responsibility of the other ships. There were other ships that had come through that storm, and some were already in their safe haven. But when word came that contact had been lost with such a magnificent ship, several, not all, but several of the ships turned around and went back into the storm at the peril of their own lives. And in the book, it's written that the mariners have a code. And here it is. We don't have to come back, but we do have to go out. In other words, duty calls us. When one of us is lost in the sea, if there are sailors clinging to a raft, whatever the situation might be, it behooves us to go out to try to rescue them at the peril of not being able to come back ourselves and losing our own lives. And I love that. And I thought about the Christian church today. Let me read to you from Romans chapter 10. The scripture says in verse 11, "Whoever believes on him will not be put to shame. For there's no distinction between Jew and Greek. The same Lord is rich to all who call upon him. For whoever calls on the name of the Lord shall be saved. How then shall they call on him in whom they've not believed? And how shall they believe in him of whom they've not heard? And how shall they hear without a preacher? And how shall they preach unless they're sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who preach the gospel of peace, who bring glad tidings of good things." Now, I'd like to take that passage of scripture and tie it in with the words of Jesus Christ in Matthew chapter 16. And Jesus said, in verse 24, it says, Jesus said to his disciples, "If anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whoever desires to save his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life for my sake will find it." I mean, it's phenomenal when you think of it that, quite often in the Christian world, we have been focused on our own safety. We've been focused on our own security. And in America, much of the gospel is about me, myself, and I, and how I can enhance my life and lifestyle and self-worth and all this other stuff. When people are really perishing in the storms of life, they're out there and they're clinging to whatever shred of hope they have left. And I love the fact that the sailors said, knowing that they might lose their own lives going back into that sea, the sailors said, "We don't have to come back, but we do have to go out." I love that. I love that. And I'm thinking of my own life. I'm 72 years old now, and I've come through a lot of storms and trials and difficulties. And the tendency is there in all of us to want to just draw back and relax. But I'm thinking of the people now that are out there in the storms of life, and even more now with society starting to devolve all around us. And the things that Jesus warned about in the Gospel of Matthew starting to happen. Everything in the scriptures is starting to unfold just as it said it would. Men's hearts are failing. Fear is starting to take over of humankind. They're soon going to be looking for a leader to lead this world at the abyss of its condition that it's fallen into without a regard for the ways and the will of God. The ones who really have the message that can bring a person to safety is you and I, as the Church of Jesus Christ. But if I seek to save my life, I will lose what God has for me. I'll lose the future I could have. Not just me. I won't just lose. It's the people that I could have spoken to that will lose. Yes, I agree, it's inconvenient. And it might cost us something. It might cost us, what's it going to cost us? We already have eternity in our hand. We already have the promise of living for eternity in a place with no more sorrow, no more tears, no more sighing, no more disease, no more anything, except just eternal bliss or whatever it is that God has for our lives. That's what the future holds for us. And so, rather than just looking for comfort on this side of eternity, I think I've determined in my heart I'm going to go out where people are clinging to their life rafts, whatever it is that they've got left of life, with the message of the gospel of Jesus Christ. How shall they hear without a preacher? And how shall they preach unless they are sent? And how, may I add to that? I know you're not supposed to add the scripture, but I want to add a thought, at least anyway. And how shall they be sent unless God works it in their heart to go in the first place? I mean, God has to put it in our hearts. He's got to put it in mine. He's got to put it in yours to say, I'm just not going to live my life living for my own comfort, just trying to get through, hanging on to my little shred of happiness until I get to the other side. No, those sailors that day, they made a choice to leave the safe harbor and go back into the storm for the sake of people, many of whom they didn't even know, but people that were lost out there might be clinging to their last shred of hope that somebody will find them. And I think of all the people in this world that are clinging to their last shred of hope. And how shall they hear without a preacher? And I might be old, but I feel like Moses, or I feel like Isaiah in chapter 6, here am I, Lord. I'll go. I have something to say. I've got a heart of compassion to bring to them. I've got truth from the scriptures. I have an assurance of salvation for those who will turn to Christ. Yes, I'm going to go, my brother, my sister. I hope you'll come with me. It's a grand adventure. We may not come back to the places we leave behind, but we do have to go. I think that theme is going to stay with me for the rest of my life. This is Carter Conlon. Welcome to my morning. And I hope that my morning will make the rest of your life, not just your day. I'll see you again tomorrow. Love you so much. God bless you.